Good afternoon, dear students. I once again welcome back to Personality Development Unit 2. We were discussing about communication. Let me continue the same. In my previous class, I was discussing about nonverbal communication skill. In that, particularly, I told you all about components of body language, how to maintain eye contact, facial expressions, postures, specific movements, and physical contact like shaking hands and so on. Today, I will discuss again about nonverbal communications. That is, nonverbal communication also includes the way we deliver informations. A simple change in tone and inflections can change the meaning of statements. It is important then to be aware of the way we speak so that we can communicate more effectively. Today's class is about it's not what is said, it is how it's said, the do's and don'ts, and the process of communications. Right? Are you guys with me? Let's move to the slide. In the first slide, I'm going to discuss about it is not what you say and it is how you say it. So here are the following aspects how these things are to be said while communicating. That is, the tone of voice has to be maintained, stress the word and emphasis the word, pace and rhythm has to be maintained, the volume has to be maintained, pronunciation and enunciations has to be maintained. So let me tell you in brief about the tone of voice. The tone voice intonation refers to the use of changing pitch in order to convey a message. For example, the same message can be delivered by using different modulation, which I'm going to tell you in the second example, that is stress and emphasis. Just note down tone pitch using and rising intonation, dipping intonation, falling intonation, change in tone can also help identify what is the purpose of the sentence. That is how, let me tell you in this example. Now stress and emphasis, it is changing like which word you stress is called as a stressing the word. That is changing which word you stress and say. Emphasis means tells how emphasis changes its meaning. When you stress the word, how it changed the meaning of that particular sentence. Example, you mean he disobeyed his mother. This is the sentence. I am going to tell you in three different modulation with tone pitch using rising intonation, dipping intonation, falling intonation. That is the change of tone makes the sentence different. The first sentence which I'm going to tell, I'm stressing here one word, just find out. You mean he disobeyed his mother. So here I'm stressing out he. The second time, you mean he disobeyed his mother. You mean he disobeyed. I'm just stressing disobeyed. In the third time, I'm just telling you, you mean he disobeyed his mother? So here I'm stressing out his mother. So in the first time I said, you mean he, that person, he is a very disciplined person. How can he disobey his mother? So we are stressing he disobeyed his mother. In the second time, you mean he disobeyed. He disobeyed. That is, he is the very brilliant and very obedient. He disobeyed. It is unbelievable. So that is how the communication goes on. You mean he disobeyed his mother? His mother is everything for him. For him, nothing is more than his mother. So nothing is bigger than his mother. So he disobeyed with his mother. Unbelievable. So the three different sentence, when we stress each word, gives different meaning. That is stress and emphasis. So pace and rhythm. The speed of speech as well as the appropriate use of pause can change the meaning of the words spoken. So it is effective that the clarity and effectiveness of communication should be very good. For example, people who speak fast can be difficult to talk to those people who listen, who are a very poor listener. The listener might feel too pressurized to catch the point. They may misunderstand few words that may lead to miscommunication. In fact, the people who speak slowly with bore also leads the listener to get bored of them. That is, too loudly and too slowly is also very, very bad while communicating. Next, let's go for the volume. How softly and how loudly it's spoken also matters in communication. We have to ideally speak in a moderate volume while in the company of others. When we are with many people, we have to speak very ideally. If you are speaking too soft, your voice is very low, that communicates that you are very nervous and lack of assertiveness. While you are too loud and you communicate in a very fast way and you are too loud, that says that you are very anger and aggressive. Therefore, a person should always be flexible, able to whisper at the same time, shout when it is appropriate to do so. That is volume. The pitch of the volume should be maintained accordingly. Next, the pronunciation and enunciation. Enunciation, that is, pronunciation refers to the speaking of words, that is the way that generally accepts or understood by the listener. So when we pronounce and speak, listener understands and he gives the feedback, he communicates with us. So when he doesn't understand, now what happens, he stops listening as well as he stops giving the feedbacks. While unications is the art of speaking clearly and concisely. So note that accents is very important while talking. I hope you guys understand what is verbal and non-verbal communication. Now you even understood the modulation, what to say and how to say it. The next slide is about the level of communication. So human communications takes place at various levels, that is extrapersonal, intrapersonal, interpersonal, organizational and mass communication. I will tell you in brief in the next slide. Now let's see the level of communication. Under the level of communication, the first one is the personal. So all communication in an organization that occurs without any purpose, the communication between two people, that is called as the personal communication. Without any purpose they are talking, for is known as a personal communication. The second one is the extrapersonal communication. So the extrapersonal communication is a communication between human being and non-human being. You can see here, human being and non-human being entity is called as an extrapersonal communication. Example, when your pet dog comes to you wagging his tail soon as you return home from college. It is an example of extrapersonal communication. This form of communication requires coordination and understanding between the sender and the receiver. So here the communication between them should have an proper coordination and understanding. So the next one is the intrapersonal communication. You can see intraperson itself says that the type of communication takes place within the individuals. So within themselves they are sitting and discussing or thinking about. We know that the brain is linked to all parts of the body by electrochemical systems. So we know all this the electrochemical systems which is present in our body is linked to all parts of our body. For example, when you begin to feel hot, this information is sent to your brain and you may decide to turn your cooler or fan on. The brain sends the information to your hand to switch on the cooler or an AC. So in this case, the relevant organ is the sender and electrochemical impulses is the message and the brain is the receiver. Next, what brain does? It assumes the role of the sender and sends feedback that you should switch on the cooler. Thus, the process is complete. This kind of communication which pertain to thinking is known as intrapersonal communication. The next one is interpersonal communication. It is different from other forms of communication In that there are few participants. You can see 1, 2, 3 members are there. There are more than 3 participants or more participants, few participants involved, as I told you in my previous video, that communication between 2 or more people. It is a communication between 2 or more people. The organizational communication, sorry. Next one is the organizational communication. Communication in our organization takes place at different hierarchical levels. There is extremely necessary for sustaining in any organization. Since a large people are involved in an organization, the need of communication becomes greater in an organization. There are many people. You can see the functions here and the features, how people are hierarchically way of what we call it as appointment is given. Based on that, we have to keep the communications. So the kind of communication can be further divided. You can see the kind of communication is further divided into internal operation, external operation, and personal. The internal operations of or nothing but all communication that occurs within the organization is classified as internal operations. So external operations are the work related to the communication that an organization does with the people outside the organization is called external operation. Internal is inside the organization and external is outside the organization, and personal communication is all communication in an organization that occurs without the purpose as far as the business is concerned is called as the personal communication. These are the 3 types of organizational communications. The next one is mass communication. So this is here we saw mass itself says that media, internet, radio, magazines, televisions, and newspaper. For this kind of communication, we require a mediator to transmit information. There are several mass medias such as all this or the mass medias: internet, radio, magazines, televisions, newspapers, which mediates such communications. Oral communications through mass media require some equipments such as microphones, amplifiers, etc. The written form needs print media and visual media. These are the different types of communications which is essential for the human beings to take place at various levels. I hope you guys understood what is verbal and non-verbal communication. Now let me tell you all the essentials of communication, that is the do's and the don'ts. Firstly, let me tell you about the do's. Always think ahead about what you are going to say. It is always plan on beforehand or think ahead what you want to say or what you are going to say. Use simple words and phrases that are understood by everybody. So don't use complicated or high vocabulary words or the phrases in order to show off that you are good a communicator in English, especially when it comes to English. Like people use high vocabulary and say that I have a very good command on English. That is really too bad. That you have to see that whether the opposite person, that is the listener, can understand and follow your vocabulary. So based on the listener, you have to use the words. So it's better to use simple words and phrases in order to make everyone understand. Increase your knowledge on all the subjects you are required to speak. For example, you are in a team, you are in a group of 4 or 5 students who are discussing with different topics. Maybe one is talking about the politics, one will be talking about sports or cinema, etc., etc. So you should also possess the knowledge on that subject to speak about. So whenever you speak, you have to speak clearly and audibly. Check twice with the listener whether you have been understood accurately or not. So whatever you speak, check with the listener whether he understood. So you would have noticed like few people say that have you understood, is it very clear to you? Even with the lecturers, very often they'll be saying, is it clear my dear students, did you understand, are you guys with me, should I repeat? So all this is to check whether the listener has understood accurately or not. In case of interruption, if there is any disturbance, always do a little recap. You can just repeat again and tell what has been already said. Always pay undivided attention to the speaker while listening. Always pay attention and focus towards the listener. While listening, always make notes. That is very important. So make a important points, notes of an important points. Always ask for clarification if you have failed to grasp others' point of view. Check whether you have understood accurately or not. So, and repeat the speaker and said to check whether you have understood accurately. So nothing wrong in asking. Either rather than miscommunication, you can just ask, can you just repeat the sentence? I didn't follow. What exactly you mean? What is that you are saying? I didn't follow that. No, I didn't get that particular word. So you can just ask them again and clarify what exactly they are saying. So by this repeating that what the speaker has said, again repeat what did he say or she say and check whether you understood accurately. Only then the communication reaches others in a proper way. So these are the essential communication which you have to follow in your life. The things which you should not or do not while communication, that is the essentials of communication don'ts. Now I'm going to tell you what is that you should not follow. Do not instantly react and mutter something in anger when you are not interested in listening or did not understand what the speaker is saying. Do not instantly react and mutter means murmur something in anger. Do not use technical terminologies not understood by majority of the people. That's what I said. Don't use high vocabulary or technical terms or terminologies which is not understood by others. So the third one is do not speak too fast or too low. As I told you, if you speak too fast, the listener may not catch some words or he will not understand few words what you are going to say, and this may lead to miscommunication. And when you speak too slow, what happens is the listener will get too bored. Do not speak in inaudible surrounding as you won't be heard. Always see that whenever you have conversation where uh, where there is no pollutions, or we call it as noise pollution, where there is no noise pollution, you come to the neat, calm, cool environment and start discussing. So do not assume that everybody understands you. So everyone will not understand whatever we speak. Some may go wrong. So that is the nature of our communication. So while listening, do not glance here and there, and it might distract the speaker. So what we say is it is like we should not glance, we should not look here and there. Always we have to look into the eyes and speak. He, if you look into the eyes and speak, only then he or she will definitely feel that you are not you are the good listener. If you look here and there, and if you distract the speaker, it is understood that you are not a good listener. Do not interrupt the speaker. Do not interrupt the speaker. Always wait till the end up of the conversation, till the end the conversation. At the end you can just note down the points and then speak. Instead of that, like interfering in the mid shows that bad manners of communication. Do not jump to the conclusion that you have understood everything. So sometimes you would have noted before completing the sentence itself, the person will say that, ah, okay, okay, fine, I understood. That means is not showing any interest. So you do not jump to the conclusion till the speaker ends up his speech or his message. Wait and then conclude that what he or she is going to communicate or what he or she is saying to you. Until then, don't conclude yourself something in assumption. So that is what they say is do not jump to the conclusion that you have understood everything. These are the don'ts which you have to follow in your communication. Don't react instantly or mutter something in the center while the speaker is speaking. And don't use technical terms or terminological terms that may not be understood by the listener. Don't speak too fast or too slow. And always speak in a pollution free surroundings. So don't assume that everyone knows everything. So you also should know that some people will not understand. In such cases you can repeat and go slowly and tell them again and again what exactly you mean it. While listening, do not glance here and there, don't look here and there, and don't get distracted. Don't distract the speaker. So do not interrupt the speaker. Don't speak in the middle in when the speaker is speaking. So wait until he completes his communication. Do not jump to the conclusion that you have understood everything. These are the essentials of communication which a student or those people whoever speaks should not do it. These are the tips which you have to follow during your communications. That is, keep appropriate distance, that is, maintain distance from the people while talking. Take care of your appearance. Be aware that people may give false cues. Maintain eye contact and smile genuinely. If you want to be successful in your life, in the new global and the diverse workplace, you require excellent communication skill, and you have to inculcate this communication skills. The tips to improve existing level of communication is: improve your language, learn more languages, improve pronunciation. So practice how to pronounce the words and work on voice modulations, work on body languages, read more books and stories and novels, listen to the musics, TED Talks, etc. Avoid reading or watching or listening unwanted literature, gossip, media's presentation. So whenever you just go through the videos or whenever you go to the um, uh, social medias, avoid all this reading unwanted things, unwanted gossips, media's presentations. Instead of that, just take some useful things which is beneficial to your life. Interact with the quality people. Don't have unwanted chats or gossip people or unwanted people who boast you. So interact with the quality people who motivates you. Improve on your topic of discussions. Practice meditation and good thoughts. Think and speak. Always think and speak just like that. Don't speak anything as it comes from your mouth. Do not speak too fast. Use simple vocabularies. Do not speak only to impress someone. Look presentable and confident. These are the tips to improve the existing level of communication. Once again, I repeat, the tips for good communication skill is: maintain eye contact with the audience. Don't divert or do not glance here and there because it might distract the speaker. Body awareness is more important. Maintain distance and have a good posture. Gesture and expression is very important while communication. When you don't react, it is understood that you are not a good listener. Convey one's thoughts. Practice effective communication. All the best, my dear students. From now onwards, if you are not a good communicator, practice, practice, practice. Practice makes you perfect. So start communicating. Start this communication skills. Stand yourself in front of the mirror and practice. Later on you can just have a conversation with your friends, one or two friends, best friends. Later on you can just come on the stage and start communicating things. This is how you're going to develop your communication skills. Hope you will do it. Thank you, dear students. I have come to the end of communication skill. I hope you understood better and you will practice your communication skill and find out your loopholes where you are dragging in. What has to be done? How you can improve? By seeing this video, you can practice well, start learning. It's not too late. Next class, I will be discussing about how to manage your stress, that is stress management. Don't miss the class. Until then, I am signing off. Take care. Bye.